Well, hello there. I'm sorry I'm not here more often uh, as I should be. I always plan to make more videos for this channel, and then the beautiful part of my life in this room is that I'm always insanely busy, which is a luxury problem in 2025 to be busy in the world of music. And the last 3 years have been almost like the 80s again. I'm working 7 days a week, sometimes 10, 12, 14 hours a day, which is fantastic. And I love the work. And then, of course, you have family around that. So whatever little time is left outside is always spent with the family, especially when you have a 10-year-old daughter. Any parent out there know exactly what I'm talking about, and that's the greatest part of life. So I'm getting to the end of the year, which is always a very special time. I do the same thing every year. Try to take a break for 2 or 3 weeks over the holidays and look back and kind of do a personal review of how the year was, what work I did, what was good, what was, not bad. I don't think I have bad stuff, but anything bad or sad that happened. We get older, we lose friends, and a good example is Ace Frehley, who the Kiss guitar player, who sadly passed away due to the accident where he fell in his house. I started to play exactly 50 years ago. I started to play electric guitar because of a Kiss poster. I was in a shopping mall in the city next to ours here in Sweden. My mom had to do an errand. I was 7 years old. Next to the store she was going to was a record store. Remember those? The old good record stores? So I asked my mom if I could wait in the record store, and she said, sure. And just about to walk into the store, there's a big poster on the glass wall leading into it of something. It's one of those moments in life I'll never forget. I don't know if I stood there for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but I stood there for a very long time just trying to figure out what it was that I was looking at. Because I saw these 4 superheroes with instruments, and they looked like nothing I've seen before, with a logo that I couldn't make sense of. It says KI, and I didn't understand that the lightning bolts were SS or anything. I just stood there, and it was like a voice in my head that said, whatever that is, that's what I want to do with my life. Because you're 7 years old. It's 1975. So I walk into the store, and there's one guy talking to the guy working there, and the rest of the store is empty. So I'm trying to find out where this band, whatever it is, if they have an album out. So I remember KI, so I go and I look for it, and I find this, and they're called Kiss, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I see the new album called Kiss Alive, and just as I pick it up and start looking at it, this customer leaves, and the guy working there, he yells over at me and goes, oh, that's a cool band from America. That's their new album. I really like that band myself. Not even explaining what the style or anything is. I have no idea. I'm just blown away by the cover and everything. So, and I see they have a couple of other albums as well. And my mom comes back, and somehow I convince her to buy this album for me. She saw something in my eyes or something. And the guy working there said, yeah, this is a really, really cool band. You should check this out. So luckily she buys this album for me. I come home, and, you open it up, and this was way before CDs or streaming or anything. the way we did it back in the days. So vinyl has a beautiful smell. You bring it out and you're looking at it. I have no idea what it's going to sound like. I know nothing about it. The band, the style, whatever it is. Could be a Russian polka band. I have no idea. So I'm putting it on and I get this audience sound, and a voice comes out saying, "You're one of the best, you got the best." And you're like, "Whoa, what is this?" And from the first bar, from the first sound, from that explosion that happens, I'm sold. Forever, for the rest of my life, I become a diehard Kiss fan. And everything is amazing. The way they play, the groove, the swagger, the sound, the drumming is incredible. The vocals are unreal. And the guitar solos are from another planet, from Jendel, if you know your Kiss story. So Ace becomes my first guitar hero. Kiss becomes the reason I decide that music is what I'm gonna do with my life. And I'm just blown away. I do like all of us kids do back then. You air drum the whole Peter Criss solo, and you learn it exactly the way it is. Me and my best friend Joe, and we almost competed in knowing exactly that. And then we were both guitar players already. But that's when I decided. I had played around with an acoustic guitar for a couple of years, but that's when I decided I need to get an electric guitar. So I did. And you're trying to learn those Ace licks and those chords, because I was almost more into rhythm playing back then. But Kiss became the whole reason I started with music, and thankfully it gave me this career. And I've had the blessing of working with many of the members, and I've got to tell them from my heart how much they meant for me, like they did for millions of others around the world. So they're used to hearing this, but I know it means something to them every time they hear it. So I got to play on Paul Stanley's Live to Win album, and I played on 2 songs, the title track Live to Win and Wake Up Screaming. I worked a lot with Bruce Kulick, who's an amazing guitar player and a very nice person, and Eric Singer, another super sweet human, great drummer. And I was friends with Mark St. John back in the day, who sadly passed away. So I met and been around the Kiss camp, seen them live countless times since the 70s. So they've been an enormous part of my life, but I never thought that I would be working with Ace Frehley. It's not one of those, I always hoped, like you do. I always dream of working with those kind of people. So thanks to my beautiful friend Pepe Castro, who is like family to me. About 4 years ago, he contacted me and said, we're all getting older. I still have a couple of bucket list things I want to do in my life. And one is to work with you, Mr. Denander, and the other one is to do something real with my very dear old friend, Ace Frehley. Ace lived next door to Pepe over 60 years ago when they were kids. Pepe already had a hit song when in his teens. He's a couple of years older, I think, than Ace. So Ace felt, well, if that guy in this neighborhood can become a rock star, I can become a rock star. So I think he made his mom call over to Pepe's house to ask if Pepe could teach Ace how to play guitar, which he did. So, and Ace have told this story many times as well. So, through all the cosmic, beautiful powers in the world, Pepe, me, and Ace started working on what was meant to be Ace's next solo album. And we worked on it for quite a while on a bunch of songs, and have recorded some cool stuff that will someday, in the best way with the greatest intentions be released. We're talking about it now with all the proper people for all the right reasons. So we'll get back to that later. So, but the problem is I'm stuck here in Sweden and we're working on songs. I do the demos, I send them over. Peppy went to Ace's house, or Ace went to Peppy's house, and we record stuff. And then Ace went on tour, and he was sometimes gone quite a long time on tour. So it was moving very slowly, and he had a deal to deliver an album. We talked a little about, should I go over to the States and work with them for a week or two? Should they come over to Sweden and we record here? So it was a logistical problem of how to do this. So while on tour, he ended up, through his then girlfriend, meeting Steve Brown, who came in, who lived close and could run the whole studio and basically help Ace put the album together. And they did. And one of the first songs I sent to Ace, a demo I had laying around for a long time. He really loved it, and he said, "I'm gonna work on this song," and he did. So he rewrote the intro riff of the song. My riff was a little busier. He made it almost into a New York groove kind of thing. But he kept the rest of the song. But he recorded the song, added Matt Starr on drums and everything. So it was a song done. But it was early on, so he forgot about it. It was sitting in a folder. Then they started working on the album, he and Steve. And at some point, Ace was probably going through folders, and he found this song, and he went, "Oh yeah, I worked on this song." In his mind, he thought he wrote it, because getting older, memory, it happens. Ace was not a mean guy. He didn't steal the song or anything. But we were told that we had no songs on this album from the stuff we worked on, so I had already sort of let that go. But I was thrilled in the way that I had worked with Ace, not only on the songs we wrote, but I was asked to co-produce a birthday song for legendary producer Eddie KRAMER, who had turned 80. And we were friends of him, and I knew Eddie a little bit. This small group of people wanted to do something special for Eddie. So they asked me to co-produce a birthday song. So I did a mock-up of a Led Zeppelin and a Jimi Hendrix song that Eddie had worked on. And we got some great people to play on it, like Peter Frampton, which was incredible, and Steve Hunter and Andy Timmons and Bruce Kulick and many, many, many more. And Tony Franklin did some of the bass, but John Regan, who was also a very, very close friend of mine, he did bass on it because he of course knew Eddie KRAMER well and had worked on it. So through all of that, I asked Ace if he would play on it, and he agreed. He said yes, and he did. So I had at least recorded. I had done something with Ace that came out pretty cool. So it was in kind of my bucket list moment was fine for me personally. In hindsight, where we are now, it couldn't have happened better, because Ace and Steve put together a great album that became a huge success, which was beautiful. When it came out, I had it on Spotify and I wanted to hear it. I heard some of the songs because they sent me recordings. And all of a sudden I hear this song and I'm going like, I've heard this before. And I went, oh, wait a minute, this is my song. So it took me a while to go through the demos, and sure enough, they had recorded my song, a song that I originally wrote for another project, but that's the one Ace reworked. But I looked and my credit wasn't there. So that was the start of a few months of trying to track down Ace on tour, trying to track down the record label and all of this. And in the end, they got back to me and said, oops, sorry, yes, of course, this is your song, mistake. Everything was corrected on the digital platform, so I have my credit there. Sadly, I think they did like 26 vinyl versions and all the CD versions and stuff. And of course, my name is not on that. So that's, you know, publicity lost, which in the world we work in is money lost. But who cares? It's there, and I'm super happy. It's called Up in the Sky, and a pretty cool song about Ace's life and memories and stories around UFOs and stuff, which is kind of cool. I really wouldn't be sitting in this room with a beautiful signature guitar if it weren't for Ace and Kiss. So it's extremely heartbreaking that my two biggest guitar heroes, Eddie Van Halen and Ace Frehley, are not on this planet anymore. They're probably up there having a beer, arguing who did the tapping thing first. Because Ace did it before Eddie, but what he did cannot be compared to what Eddie did. And Eddie didn't invent it either, but, you know, they're probably having a laugh up there. And if you know Ace, you know what that laugh sounds like. So it's been sad in that sense. And you know, we lose people that we love, and life is a weird journey, but it's been an extremely cool year for all the work, and it's a few weeks left of everything that I do. And then I'm gonna take a few weeks off. Next year is gonna be busy again. I'll do a kind of sort of recap of the year of the projects and situations and stuff that I've done this year within a week or so, and post it here as well. I really have a plan for next year to do a major upgrade on videos for this YouTube channel. There are a million stories about every album, working with Alice Cooper, what I did with Deep Purple, what I did with Anastasia, and maybe future plans with some of these people, and all the work with the Kiss guys, of course, and decades of working with the members of Toto, and you know, sadly Bobby Kimball's you know, dementia is there now, and it's, I miss him like crazy, and I miss Fergie like crazy, and not to mention Jeff and Mike Porcaro, who were dear friends, and the stories are endless. So I'm gonna dig deep into all of these chapters. I rebuilt the studio. I put acoustic panels up everywhere and rebuilt a lot of the stuff, reworked the studio and the guitar racks. So I'm gonna get into the geeky side of the gear, and probably more tips and tricks about, you know, what we do as professional musicians. And there's a million cool things happening with the music. So I'll try to spread my light through music and the people I meet every day. And I will talk to you before the year is over, and thank you for all the support and the insane amount of emails and messages and love and you know, 40 years of constant support. There's so much fun and crazy and goofy stuff going on, and we'll talk about it all. And if you have ideas, questions about stuff you want me to bring up in future videos, about albums, about whatever it is. I had one guy said you should do a story about every gold album, and I will. It's not about the gold or platinum awards, it's about those projects, because there are a lot of fun and cool stories about them, and I have a lot of photos and some videos from some of them. So yes, I will. I'll pledge to make this YouTube channel more active in the next year. And for all you guitar geeks, we're gonna get in deeper to the Evertune world and to the freaky bent frets from True Temperament and a lot of that stuff. So I just wanted to say hello, pay love to Ace. I didn't want to jump on the tribute train right away. I am doing guitars on an Ace solo song from '78 for a tribute album, and with some very cool people, and of course working with Peppy and my super dear friend Anton Fig. I'm very happy that we've become friends, and he's played on a lot of the stuff we do, and not to mention one of my dearest friends, Andreas Karlsson. We're constantly working on our Kiss cover songs. Anton played on those as well. And I'm doing some cool work with Desmond Child and Andreas right now. We worked with them for 25 years. Absolutely adore those people. So there's just a million cool things going on. And thank you again. And I will see you here on the channel very soon. Ciao.